Hey gang, I have a end of year favourites video for you. I don't think I've made a video like this before, like my favourites for the whole year kind of video. It was really hard to choose. Really hard. I think I've ended up with 15. I can see a plant over there that I have really loved throughout this year. I kind of want to stick with 15 though, because it's like a nice round number, isn't it? But I've got like I'm thinking I've got like 10 like favorites and then 5 honorable mentions. so let's just see how this video goes. So the favorites are in no particular order. I'm just gonna start because I'm kind of like surrounded by them beneath me here. This guy is a favorite, like absolutely. I've had it for a really long time now. I think we're probably hitting like our 5th year together. This is my Philodendron 69686, also known as Philodendron code. And let me just, so the pot's down here and the last leaf is here, but it is pushing out a new leaf. Woo. I really love this plant. I really do. There was one point where I was getting really frustrated with it. And to be honest, I still feel frustrated with it. But I know that it's a me thing. It's a me problem. So it's quite a EFN heavy plant. And it does show the damage. Oh God, I'm standing on plants. So you can, I mean, the leaves are dusty. Just because it's a favourite doesn't mean that I wash it regularly. Clearly, it's dusty and there's so much like EFN burn. Oh, heavy. There's so much EFN burn on the leaves. Can you see that stickiness? And it like burns through the leaves, and then you can see it on the front as well. And that's absolutely a me issue. I find it so annoying, but I hate lugging plants like back and forth to the shower. It drives me nutty. And so I've just kind of accepted it. But I still really love it. It just looks like the lower leaves just look a bit unwell. And there was one point, oh no, soil. There was one point where I was going to chop it. So there is a section here, 1, 2, 3 nodes where there's no leaves. So I was going to chop it at that point, and then it like pushed out. This was the first leaf that came out after that kind of batch of, I think they were just like a bit deformed, or like they didn't grow properly, or like one snapped off. So it was quite small, but then it started to size up again, and I've just not had the heart to chop it. Like, I love these silly leaves. And now that I've taken it off of the moss pole and I've put it onto, it's just like a green garden stake. And I feel like that's so much more kind of invisible, yet providing support for the plant. So yeah, I don't know. It's been a favourite this year. So I just wanted to share it with you guys. My Philodendron 69686. This next one is one that I don't talk about regularly on my channel, but it sits on the floor just in front of the mirror, and I feel like I like look at it every day and like in the back of my mind just appreciate it every single day. I really love the pattern of these leaves. Like, how stunning. Isn't that beautiful? I love the pattern. It's a really consistent grower. Like, there's always new leaves coming in. It's a Aglaonema or a Hoya camouflage. I've seen it listed like as a few different things, but I got it at a random garden centre for like $5.99. I don't think that was this year. I think it was last year. But I've loved it. I really do. It's really thirsty, but the leaves are really thick. Like, they're kind of thick and rubbery, so it's kind of forgiving. Ignore this dying leaf down here. So when it completely collapses when I've left it too long, but I give it a drink and it comes right back. Like, the edges, they're not crispy or anything. It's just a really easygoing, beautiful plant. And I mean, there's 4. I think there's 4 plants in here. I'm going to need to repot it soon, I reckon, just to give it a bigger space. But like, can you imagine this as like a really big plant? Would that not be quite show-stopping? But yeah, it's definitely, like, I don't talk about it a lot, but it's definitely a favourite in my collection. I'd be really sad if I didn't have this one. So that's how I knew it was a favourite. This next favourite has been watered recently, so it's a bit drippy. But this is balls. I can't remember the way around the name goes. This always happens. It's like, is it the rugulosum crinitum or crinitum rugulosum? I can never remember the way around. I really need to make labels for my anthuriums. But yeah, this is that anthurium. It's literally peeing on me. The petals are very long. It is a very thirsty anthurium, but I love this anthurium so much. Oh my God, I love it so much. So, this is its like previous oldest leaf. I'm sorry. How stunning is that texture? Isn't that beautiful? This one here is still soft. So it's not an anthurium that has like an amazing like emerging leaf colour or anything. It looks the same as when it's hardened off, but the texture, isn't that beautiful? I love it so much, so much. I think it is nearly sized off. It's a little bit bigger than the previous one, not that you can tell at all because they're at slightly different angles. But I love it. I love the leaf shape. I love that it's like cheeky and then it's got this really cool sinus, which you can like see through. It's like the shape of an eye. And then this one, I mean, the sinus is still really cool. Not a peephole, but really cool. And the petals and the backs of the leaves are a little bit fuzzy, which is always really hard to like capture on camera. I think you can kind of see, like, can you see it's a bit like, it's like grainy, like little bits of sand. I get to not focus on my face. I'm hoping I'll have to see in like editing whether you can see it or not. But it's really cool. It feels like Velcro. That's what it feels like. It feels like bits of fluff. Like if you wrap this in polyfill, you'd never get that polyfill off. It is leaning a little bit because there's quite a, like, I don't know whether I need to like take some of these older leaves off so that, because the chunk is kind of, it's dripping everywhere. It's got quite a chunk here that needs to be supported. So I don't know whether to like add in some kind of stake to support it or what, but this has absolutely been a favourite of mine. Okay, this next one is my Alocasia frydek, which probably isn't a surprise if you're not new here. It's thirsty, so it's a bit on the droopy side. Like this leaf would probably normally be up here. This leaf is obviously dying off, but these 2 leaves are from a separate little corm. Not separate, it is still attached, but it's a corm. And then so is this one. I've got really high hopes for this plant for 2025. I really want the continued variegation. Like, how stunning. I'd love some bigger leaves, like a little bit more of that kind of like shape to them. And yeah, just bigger leaves. Bigger leaves and maybe like babies. I'm just so happy that it's still with us, that it hasn't like completely died back for winter and turned into like, you know, they just kind of die back to their stumps, don't they? Some Alocasia. So I'm really happy that that hasn't happened and that it's still going. This has been a massive favourite this year. I'm so happy to have this, and like my hopes and dreams for it are big. And I actually do think it is easier than the green one. I do think it is easier. I agree with the people that have said that in the past. I feel like the lights change so dramatically, the sun's come out. That Alocasia has also had thrips this year, and I feel like it's done so well at beating them. Next up, I feel like if you've watched any of my videos this year, you would have been expecting to see the Sinningia leucotricha on this list. This one, oh, hang on. I was going to say, this one hasn't started putting out any new growth, whereas I've got 4 little mini tiny cordecs in a pot that have started growing. But this one, I've just noticed there are... So this little green speck here, that's a new growth, which is very exciting. I wonder what's going to happen. Like, will it keep these leaves or will these die off or like what? I don't know, but if you've not seen this plant, the leaves are so, so soft. They're like, everything about this plant is soft. Oh, it's so lush and it's such a good communicator. It really tells you when it's thirsty, like the leaves. So this one's damaged. It's got like a bit of a permanent kink in it, but when it's thirsty, all of the leaves end up looking like this one. They all kind of like just collapse in on themselves. It's such a good communicator. Oh, I love it so much. I really, really do. I like everything about it. The stems here are also fuzzy. Little fuzzy stems. The cordex is cool. I'm so excited. See, it's gone really dark. Hopefully you can still appreciate my plants. I really struggled like looking through all of my little anthuriums to find one to choose, but I've decided, like I've settled on this one. This is my Dark Phoenix crossed with a Goliath, which I got from Cartel Down, which they kindly gifted to me. I think it was over a year ago now. I feel like these, like all of my plants from Cartel Down could be bigger than what they are, but I've definitely struggled with caring for like small anthurium for sure. So I'm hoping this year I can do a bit better. I thought that was a threat, there isn't. I'm hoping this year I can do a little bit better, but I do really, really love this one. I love the texture, like the kind of, is it bullate? Like the kind of pebbled texture of the leaves, but then it's also velvety. It's so dark. Such a dark anthurium. The light's really gone, hasn't it? It's really, really dark. It's really, really velvety. Oh, look at that. And the sinus is just the perfect shape. The backs of the leaves, it's not really capturing the colour. They've almost got like a bronzy, metallic-y, like they're such a beautiful colour, and they've got the red veining. It's a stunning, stunning hybrid, and I feel so fortunate to have this in my collection. The light being on above is really helping you see that velvet. Like it is stunning. I love it. Such a fan. I of course have a couple of anthurium, no. I of course have a couple of Hoya on this list, and the same with like looking through my smaller anthuriums to choose one. Picking Hoyas was really, really hard too, but I landed on this one and one other, I think. This is my Hoya kastbergii, and I love this Hoya so much. I don't know why it's not more talked about. It's annoyingly, I tried restrapping this yesterday, but it just wouldn't restrap. I don't know where was my thought process going then? It's like completely gone. I don't know. I love this Hoya so, so much. It's like the shape of the leaves, these kind of like round leaves, and then sometimes you get like a little deformed one that looks like a heart. But I love it. I love it so, so much. It's such a good grower, like such a good grower. It's branched a few times now, but there is, let me see if I can show you. Can you see? There's 3 stems, so it's wrapped, it's just one stem wrapped around 3 times, but it has started branching. So there's a branch here, obviously there's this branch here, and this one has a peduncle on it. That peduncle never flowered, but there is another peduncle just in here, which somehow split into two. I don't really know how it managed to do that, but it split into two, and it's like one peduncle, then it grows like two. What's the correct word? Maybe that's not. Oh, I don't know. I don't know all the correct terminology, but I can get like two blooms, like two umbels from this one peduncle. And then it's also, there's another branching happening here, but this is actually two. I think it's because it hit before I wrapped it round, it hit the roof of where it sat, and then, oh no, it hit the roof of where it sat and then tried growing out a different one. So like the shorter words, I can't talk and concentrate. So the shorter tendril there like hit the roof of where it sat on my cabinet, and then it was like, oh, can't go any further, let's send out another branch. But yeah, big fan. The flowers they're cute. They're like your typical kind of like, you know, the carnosa ones that are like a little bit fuzzy, but they're white. They're quite simple, like nothing too extravagant. They didn't really smell of anything. I tried kind of sniffing it at different points during the day, like the morning, middle of the day, evening, like later into the night. Like it just didn't smell, or at least I couldn't pick up on the smell. But yeah, kastbergii. I don't see this one talked about at all ever, really, and I love it. It's such an easygoing Hoya. I know Emma of Good Growing has one, and she got it as a propagation from somebody else. So there's at least 3 of us in the UK that have this Hoya, but yeah, it's not one that gets talked about enough, in my opinion, or appreciated enough. It's so cool. I am going to stick with the Hoyas and talk to you about my Hoya polyneura outer variegated, because I've loved having this Hoya in my collection. I love my green one, which like I'm not including in this video, but honestly that one is amazing. I've also recently I also recently purchased off of eBay the inner variegated one, but it's still a cutting, it's not rooted. Fingers crossed it starts raining soon. But I've loved having this one. I got it as like just these 2 leaves, and it's grown all the rest of them. So it shot out this little set here, which they're really small. So I was a bit like, oh, okay. But they got bigger and bigger. And then these last 2 are the most variegated that it's put out, and I love it. I love it so much. I love this Hoya so much. I'm so happy to have it. I'm really torn as to whether to like chop and prop it, because I think I would like a big bushy one, but I also don't. This is the problem. I struggle with propagating my plants sometimes because I like the way they're kind of looking and they're growing, and like I'm hoping that this one will start to weigh itself down a little bit soon, because it's kind of sticky outy. Like we can there's a little bend going on, and I was looking forward to seeing it kind of trailing down. But do I want just one long trailing polyneura, or do I want a bushy plant? I do struggle with propagating sometimes. Let me know your thoughts. Should I leave it for a little bit longer and maybe like cut it in the spring, or should I cut it now? Let me know. I don't know what to do. Definitely just not the camera picking this next one up, so I'm sorry if there was like a random shift and change. It's another Hoya. This is my Hoya, words. This is my Hoya Welsh Mountain, no? Hoya globulosa Welsh Mountain Zoo, Welsh Mountain Zoo? Is that the right one? I think so. I know for my Hoyas, I really struggled to choose, and I know I haven't, I've not had them long enough to probably warrant choosing them as favourites for the entire year, but I'm so in love with them. I'm so in love with them. I'm just obsessed. with my Hoya right now. And this one, this is one of those ones, like I didn't film, I didn't film the unboxing for this one, and I wish I had, and I wish I could have that moment again. Like, I wasn't expecting it to be this big when I unboxed it, and I wasn't expecting the leaves to be this long or this fuzzy. Like, I just wasn't expecting to love it as much as I did as soon as I opened the box, and I wish I could have captured that on camera. It's incredible. It's the fuzziest Hoya ever, and like the backs of the leaves are just as fuzzy, like if not fuzzier and softer, and I really could just like feel these leaves all the time. I wonder if you can hear it. Can you hear how fuzzy it is? It's so fuzzy. Like I don't think I can show you, but it's amazing. If you've never felt one of these and you get the chance, stroke it. Like, it's incredible. I did repot it yesterday and I did film it, so I think this video probably came out before that one, but there is like a Hoya chores video coming up. And I noticed when I picked it up, so this growth point is new, and I was worried about how it was going to react to the repotting, but when I picked it up just now for this video, the growth point has moved towards the trellis. And like, I don't know how this one's going to use the trellis, like whether it'll just kind of lean on it. It's got quite thick stems, so I can't imagine it kind of tendriling round. I guess, I don't know. I haven't really studied how the thicker stemmed Hoyas grow, but I kind of took it as a bit of a good sign that it like sensed that this trellis was there, and it's like leaning back into it. So I was really worried that the kind of stress of repotting it would mean it would die off, but hopefully not. I really love the way some Hoya leaves come out. Like, can you see? Like it looks like it's got its fingers crossed. I love it. Hoya, is it glabra? It's not glabra, is it? Globulosa? Hoya species, Welsh Mountain Zoo. So cute. I am absolutely cheating on this next one. It should not be. Like, it doesn't deserve to be in my favourites for the entire year when I've had it for about 2 weeks. But in those 2 weeks, I have been obsessed with this plant, and that is my Piper Batman. It is thirsty. I have just given it a drink, so it's not as perky as it could be. Like, this leaf should be a little bit more perky, so I'm a little bit scared. I thought I'd watered it enough, but clearly not. But I'm obsessed with this plant. I love it so much. The backs are amazing. The shape of the leaves are amazing. The margin is amazing. They're like slightly fuzzy. Like, I think you can see it a bit better on the back. I don't know. They're amazing. I love this plant, and I think, like, it's really hard to tell sometimes, but I feel like there is this little point here on this side. I think that is a new leaf. Like, I don't want to touch it. It's really hard because the stems of this are like a rusty brown colour. They look a bit dead. So I don't want to touch it just in case it does just completely fall off. But I'm pretty sure that is some new growth coming on just there. And like, how amazing. I feel like this plant, out of all of the plants I got from that import, I feel like this plant is doing the best, and I'm so surprised by that. I'm so surprised. It's just incredible. I didn't expect a Piper at all to be this easy. Can you see? I don't think you can. It's like just fuzzy. It's just fuzzy. It's got such a weird texture to it. Having had it for only 2 weeks, it probably doesn't deserve to be in my like favourites of the entire year, but I really, really love it. Like, really love it. It's really shot right up there, real fast. Okay, we are on to our honourable mentions. And this one I've literally had for about a week. It came on the 22nd and today is the 29th, so literally a week. This is the Begonia U185, I think, and I've wanted this Begonia for like, I don't actually know how long. Like, I've got in my Instagram saved, I've got like a Begonia wish list. I've got like a few different genus wish lists, and this has been in that wish list folder for ages, like well over a year, maybe more like 18 months. When I first saw it, I started looking for it to see if I could purchase it, and it was not available at all in the UK. But the Grow Tropicals website had a listing for it, and they said, like, it said on there, like, coming back in stock soon, or like, you know, set up notification for it, yada yada yada. And I messaged them and was like, do you know when this might be coming back in stock? And they were like, no. And I don't know if they ever did have it in stock, or whether they just, I feel like they do list a lot of products that are like coming soon, so they're not available yet, but it's almost like a tease. I don't know. I saw this pop up in one of their, like, they did like a restock just before Christmas, and I saw it pop up on my emails that it was in stock, and I had to purchase it because I've wanted it for so long. I have had it in like 100% humidity, and I'm really glad I've taken it out, because I've realised that this smaller leaf just here, you can kind of see this darker, looks like a bruise. It's a little bit too damp. I think it's probably been sat next to some moss, so I need to get some bit more like airflow into that little container. But how stunning is that leaf? I'm sure I'll be putting some Instagram footage up of other people's, but does it not look like a starry night? It's got these gorgeous backs, which are a little bit kind of fuzzy. It has got, I don't know if you can see it in the side. Down here there is a little growth point. I'm ecstatic to have this Begonia in my collection. I really hope that this little kind of blip here isn't a sign of things to come. Like, the stem feels quite, the stem feels quite thick. It doesn't feel squidgy or anything. I really hope it's going to be okay, but I love that Begonia so much. I can't believe I've actually got it in my collection. Another special mention is this Begonia, and what is the name of this Begonia? Malachosticta. There's like certain sounds in the English language that I find hard to say together. So things like ch, st, sh, like when there's a word with too many of those kind of like 2-letter sounds in, my mouth can't do it. Like, it struggles. I can't, like, I can picture the word in my head. I can't say the word. Malachosticta. I think the T and the C also throw me as well, and I might even not be picturing the right word in my head, but I'm trying. Anyway, this Begonia, I have not found the right kind of lighting to capture the beauty of this Begonia. It always just looks a bit nah. But it's stunning. It's such a beautiful Begonia. It's like, the leaf colour is a bit unusual. It's like a, I don't know how I describe the colour. It's a bit of green. There is kind of, it's like a swampy green. It's like a swampy, browny green. Like oh, you can kind of see the colour of it there. It's not like my favourite green, but the pops of pink from the dots, I think, just make it so stunning. It's such a beautiful one, and it's got the, you know, that kind of classic bright Begonia back to it. It's got that really bright Begonia red back, which I adore. It's been so chill. I bought this off of, is her handle Begonia Addict? No, her name's India. I bought it off of her. She has like eBay listings sometimes. She also does, oh, the sun's coming out. She also does Instagram story sells quite often, but I bought it off of her from eBay, along with a Begonia Sinbad cutting. But I love it. Like you'd think this begonia is not a like room humidity begonia, but I've had this out in 60% humidity, 50, 60, and it's been absolutely fine. India did acclimate it down to kind of around 60, so really appreciated that. But how stunning. I feel like if this begonia continues to just be as dreamy as it has been, I feel like next year it's going to be up there on my favourites. So that's kind of why I've included it. Okay, so the last three, like my special mentions that I wanted to mention, are my Houseplants, which I haven't repotted any of them. One of them I've had since like April of this year, so I'm really struggling to hold them all up together. I just want to do like a shout out to these guys. They are hard work. Like, I don't know if I'm doing a good job with them. I can't read them. This one has got some crispy bits, which I think are new. This one has some bits that are crispy as well, and like a little bit wrinkly. This one here in the middle, this guy, the Squarosa. Oh, that just made me itchy. The Squarosa seems pretty content and happy, but I feel like I love the way these look. I love them and I appreciate them every day in my collection, similar to the camouflage one that I mentioned earlier. Like, I look at them every day and I feel like there's a part of me that's like, yeah, really glad you're in my collection. Oh, and I feel like that about these guys, but I also just feel like they look good dying. Like, I feel like I'm not caring for them very well and they're slowly dying, but they just look good while they're doing it. And I really hope they're not. Like, I really hope they're not dying, but I'm just not completely convinced that I'm caring for them right. And I just appreciate that they're not really ugly while I'm figuring it out. They are really hard to propagate though. I've got a few different bits and I haven't figured it out yet. Somebody did comment saying that I feel like they put it in like a plastic bag or something, like 100% humidity, and that worked. So maybe I need to try that with a few strands. But yeah, the Houseplants gang, I just had to mention them all. Oh, they look so cool and crazy. I love it. I really do want to work on them and like figure out how to care for them because they're just amazing. I need to put them down because they're heavy, the things I've got them in. I feel like I'm really, really cheating like a lot of it now, but like all of my Monsteras, like Big Monty here, love him, absolutely, big fan. And then just here is my Thai constellation and like love those, absolute, we're a bit wonky now. Like I love them every day. I appreciate them every single day. I love that they're in my collection and I'll never not have them in my collection. Those are my favourites for the entire year. As like the plant that I spotted at the beginning is my Anthurium frydek, which big fan. I absolutely love that Anthurium. And I mean, I'm a big fan of all of the plants in my collection. There are some plants where I would definitely not choose them for this list. And I'm thinking maybe this next year is the year that I need to get rid of those plants, like downsize in some way. Like if I don't love them and I don't want them on my favourites list, why have I got them, kind of thing. That is definitely a next year job. I've just realised you can see the TV this whole time. I'm watching New Girl. So random. I'm watching New Girl. Really enjoying watching New Girl at the moment. Yeah, I'm going to sign off. Thank you so much for watching. This video was so much longer than I thought it was going to be. Thank you so much for watching this video. I would love to know what your favourite is. If you could, can you pick one favourite from like the entire year from your collection? I would love to know it. And if you've got any like favourite from my collection, the ones that I've just shown you, I would love to hear what your favourite is of mine as well. Thank you so much for watching this video. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed, and I can't wait to see you in the next year. Bye.